teacher is teaching a class of kids about intelligence. She explains what intelligence is and then, "Teacher, people opposite to intelligent are called stupid. Now how many of you think of yourselves as stupid? Stand up." She waits to see if someone would stand up, but no one does. After a long while, finally a kid stands up. "Teacher, do you think you are stupid?" Student, "No." "Teacher, then why did you stand up?" Student, "I felt bad since you're the only one standing."
A blonde was taking helicopter lessons. The instructor said, "I'll radio you every 1,000 feet to see how you're doing." At 1,000 feet, the instructor radioed her and said she was doing great. At 2,000 feet, he said she was still doing well. Right before she got to 3,000 feet, the propeller stopped, and she twirled to the ground. The instructor ran to where she crash-landed and pulled her out of the helicopter. "What went wrong?" the blonde said. "At 2,500 feet, I started to get cold, so I turned the big fan off." 40 years ago, I got a phone call from a solicitor asking to speak to my husband. I told him my husband wasn't home at the moment. He called several more times, and again, my husband wasn't home. Getting tired of his phone calls, I finally said to him to hang on a minute. I came back shortly and said in a very deep voice, "This is Peter. How can I help you?" He proceeded to give his hustle to me. When he finished, I said, "You need to speak to my wife."
A blonde really got tired of all blonde jokes and decided to hang herself in the bathroom. As she locked the door, she yelled at her husband, "I'm hanging myself because I'm tired of jokes about us blondes being stupid." Her husband broke into the bathroom and saw his wife with a rope tied on her toe. The husband said, "I thought you were hanging yourself." She said, "Yes, I am." The husband replied, "Usually when people hang themselves, they tie the rope around their neck, so why is yours tied on your toe?" She said, "I tried that, but I couldn't breathe."
A blonde got fed up with all the blonde jokes. So she cut her hair short and dyed it black. Bought a snazzy convertible and went driving through the countryside. On a back country road, she drove up to a large flock of sheep that were slowly crossing the road. As she sat there watching the flock, she saw the farmer standing there. She said, "Hey, I'll bet you, if I can guess how many sheep you have in this flock, how about you give me one?" "Okay," he said, "give it a try." She stood in the seat and surveyed the flock and said, "You have 347 sheep." The farmer was amazed as he had exactly 347 sheep. He told her to pick her one out, and picked a really cute one. As she was putting it into her car, the farmer said, "Wait a minute, how about if I can guess what color your hair really is, you give me my dog back?"
People always tell blondes blonde jokes, but I enjoyed this one. A blonde was speeding in a school zone when a local police officer pulled her over and walked up to the car. The officer also happened to be a blonde, and she asked for the blonde's driver's license. The driver searched frantically in her purse for a while and finally said to the blonde policewoman, "What does a driver's license look like?" Irritated, the blonde cop said, "It's got your picture on it." The blonde driver frantically searched her purse again and found a small, rectangular mirror down at the bottom. She held it up to her face and said, "Aha. This must be my driver's license," and handed it to the blonde policewoman. The blonde cop looked in the mirror, handed it back to the driver, and said, "You're free to go. And, if I had known you were a police officer too, we could have avoided all of this."
A blonde got tired of blonde jokes. One evening, she went home and memorized all the state capitals. Back in the office the next day, some guy started telling a dumb blonde joke. She interrupted him with a shrill announcement. "I've had it up to here with these blonde jokes. I want you to know that this blonde went home last night and did something probably none of you could do. I memorized all the state capitals." One of the guys, of course, said, "I don't believe you. What is the capital of Nevada?" "And," she answered. A policeman is driving past a roadside apple stand when he notices the sign. "Apple seeds, guaranteed to make you smarter, $20 per seed. He pulls over and informs the vendor that it is fraud and false advertising to make absurd claims like this. No, 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 the vendor tells the cop. My apples are a special variety. A scientific miracle. Buy just one seed, eat it, and you will notice an increase in intelligence. If not, I promise to refund your $20. All right, says the cop. But if this doesn't work, I'm shutting your operation down. He hands over a $20 bill, takes the seed, chews it up, and waits for it to kick in. After a few moments, he says, You know, even if you're not lying, I could have bought a whole bag of your apples and had enough seeds to last me months. Ah, yes, says the vendor. It's working already.
Little Joey comes home from his first day of school crying his eyes out. Mom, all the kids at school say I have a big head. It's really upsetting. The mother says, Don't worry, honey, your head isn't big at all. Now, go get me some potatoes from the corner shop. Mom, I don't have a bag for potatoes. It's okay, Joey, just use your hat.
A guy sticks his head into a barber shop and asks, Hey, buddy, how long before I can get a haircut? The barber looks around the shop and says, About 2 hours. And the guy leaves. A few days later, the same guy sticks his head in the door and asks, How long before I can get a haircut? Again, the barber looks around at shop full of customers and says, About 2 hours. The guy leaves. A week later, the same guy sticks his head in the shop and asks, How long before I can get a haircut? The barber looks around the shop and says, About an hour and a half. The guy leaves. The barber looks over at a friend in the shop and says, Hey, Joey, I'll give you a free cut if you follow that guy and see where he goes. In a little while, Joey comes back into the shop laughing hysterically. The barber says, This must be good. Where did he go when he left here? Joey says, To your house.
One sunny afternoon, two blondes walk down the street. One of them suddenly points at the sun and says, Look. That's the moon over there. The other one says, No, that's the sun. The first one, No, it's the moon. The other one, again, No, it's the sun. After arguing for a while, the smart one says, Let's go to that house over there and ask, What's right? They go to the house and ring the doorbell. Another blonde opens the door. The smart one asks, Excuse us, can you tell us whether it's the sun or the moon in the sky? The blonde looks and says, I wouldn't know. I've only been living here for 2 weeks. A ventriloquist at a comedy show is telling blonde jokes. Suddenly, a blonde woman in the crowd stands up. I've heard enough of your stupid blonde jokes. What makes you think you can stereotype women like this? What does the color of a person's hair have to do with her worth as a human being? It's men like you that keep women like me from being respected at work and in the community, and from reaching our full potential as a person. Because you and men like you continue to perpetuate discrimination against not only blondes, but women in general, and all in the name of humor. You should be ashamed of yourself. Feeling guilty, the ventriloquist begins to apologize to the woman when she interrupts him. Hey, you stay out of this, mister. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the little bastard on your knee.
A kid walks in to check out the place early the next day. Looking all around, he sees that the store has several recognizable items, such as whoopee cushions, and some unique items that he'd never seen before. There was also a wall full of candy, with weird names such as Hoot Gummies and Wolf Bars. Excuse me, sir, is there anything I can help you find? Said one of the store clerks from behind him. Oh, yeah? The customer said, startled. He looked around him quickly and picked up one of the newer-looking tricks. What does this do? He asked. The store clerk replied. Oh, that? She picked it up and spun it around her finger or attempted to. It's a fidget spinner joke. You can try as hard as you want, but it will never spin. He laughed. That sounds hilarious. What does this one do? That's our padlock joke. It will never open with any key ever, even the one that's provided with it. Cool. Can you tell me about these? And so it went on and on as he asked the poor shopkeeper about what seemed like every new item in the store, until he came back to the wall of sweets. What about these chirp chocolates? He asks. Well, says the worker, somehow still keeping her energy up. If you eat one, it'll make you chirp like a bird for a whole minute. That's hilarious, laughs the boy. Do these hoot gummies make you hoot like an owl? She nodded. And these squeaking marshmallows? And hey, what's this? He reached into the large container of wrapped mints and pulled out a brightly colored fishing reel that had a very tiny handle. The clerk takes it from him and sighs, Oh darn. I forgot to sort these again last night. It feels like every time I come back our real joke's always hiding in the comments. Hey there. I put a lot of effort into making these videos, so please subscribe for more jokes and stay happy. Thank you.